today we are breaking out and doing something a little bit old school. I just drew on my shorts. Okay. Anyways, we got the whiteboard out today and we're going to talk just kind of raw, open about social media, whether you're a tattoo artist, any kind of artist, creative, whatever it is, but mainly I'm going to be speaking for tattoo artists, but you can really apply this to anything. So we're going to talk about content, branding, marketing, how to leverage social media to kind of make you get to that next level, because the more people that know about you, the more people that can buy from you, the more people that can book with you, the more people that can work with you, whatever it is, right? It's just super important. And I see a lot of tattoo artists not taking full advantage of this. And instead they're just complaining and crying about how they can't do it. It doesn't work for them. They shouldn't have to do this, that, and the third. And especially in light of this whole TikTok ban and all this controversy surrounding that, the thing I think a lot of people should take away from this is that a couple things. One is not to put all your eggs in one basket. So if you were heavy on TikTok and then it got taken away, as of recording this, as of today, they put it back on. But for a while, people were pretty, scared that it was going to go completely away, especially the people that were heavily just on TikTok and not really spread across on different social media platforms like Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Snapchat, like all these different Facebook, stuff like that. And it kind of got me thinking, because at first I didn't really care, and then I kind of did care, and then I realized, like, maybe a couple months leading up to it, I was like, I'm just going to go super hard this last couple months. Like, if it does go away, I'm just going to put it all into this. And I was thinking, especially yesterday when they did technically ban it, I was like, bro, why did I wait so long to, and I feel like I'm a person who takes advantage of social media. I really go hard. I post, I'm really consistently, I go live, I do a bunch of things. But even then I felt like, how did I take it to another gear just because I knew it was going away, And that's kind of, I know a lot of people think about new year, new me and all this other stuff. And it's bro, I think that should be all of our mindsets all the time. And so it kind of sparked this idea to make this video. So I'm going to touch on TikTok stuff and also just general. But again, another thing that I think that is a big takeaway in this is whether TikTok's here to stay or not, spread yourself across social media platforms. Don't focus just in one area. And I know that's hard, but I'm going to give some examples and things that I think made my life a little bit easier, and things that I'm still even improving on for this year, things that I'm changing, things that I'm doing the same. I did about, I think 8-9 million or something like that in views last year. Again, not a crazy number, but if you're wondering who is this dude and why should I listen to him? That's just I know a lot of people like to hear metrics and numbers and stuff like that. So there you go. I don't know, about 10 million views probably in total across all social media platforms, when I did a few quick data pulls and number pulls just so you guys can see it. Again, nothing crazy, nothing super oh, I'm a pro and I know everything, but I feel it's enough that maybe some of the things I say might help you too, especially in the tattoo space or artist field, and not running any money on ads, not running any ads or any of that stuff. So all organic content, which I still think is the best way. I think this year I'll maybe experiment with ads and see what the hype is about, if it's true, if it's not true, all that kind of stuff. I have my own reservations about ads, but yeah, all organic content. And that's why I think that this is important for you guys as well, because it is organic. It is something that you can do just as easily as I did. I'm going to give some tactics and some tips on things that you can, actual tangible things that you can leave this video with and go use on your own as well. So it's not just a bunch of fluff. A lot of this though is a lot of my own bro science and me just kind of over time, seeing what things kind of worked for me, what didn't, and then just approaching it from that way. So I don't have any, not a guru, bro. I don't work for Meta. I don't work for any platform. So I don't know the ins and outs of an algorithm and all that stuff. like some of these gurus apparently do. But I'm gonna show you what worked for me, what didn't. Talk about things, just generally just talk about all this. I feel like it's important to have some of these conversations sometimes. Now that we did a full 5-minute intro, let's try and get into this. I don't know how this is going to go, but I did want to I want to start using a whiteboard. And this is the only whiteboard I had, so we're working with what we got right now. But I wanted you to kind of visually see what we're talking about, right? So the first thing is that we're going to talk about is this word right here. Myths, bro. The myths about social media, the myths about content and marketing and using social media to build your presence online and brand and all that other stuff. So the first two words that I want to talk about is the famous one. I don't know if this is how you spell it, but I think that's how you spell it. All right. So these two, algorithm and niche. Algorithm and niche. Let's talk about it. A lot of people talk about this algorithm and be like, oh, the algorithm doesn't like me. Oh, it doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't mess with me. I'm shadow banned. No, your content sucks. And I've said this multiple times before and people get offended, but that's just the reality of the situation. It's happened to me. You got to look yourself in the mirror and be like, okay, if I'm not getting the results I want, whether it's a certain number like view count and follower count, which I think is super overplayed and super overhyped. And we'll talk about that a little bit later as well. But you got to replace this word algorithm right here with a different word. Oh yeah, and I'm super sick right now too, but I wanted to get this video out to you guys. Audience. So algorithm to me is your audience or the audience or somebody else's audience, whoever it is, it's the audience, right? It's the overall audience that you're trying to get your message out to, your videos out to, whatever it is, right? And I think it's important to replace that word with that because then you humanize it. Like, it's easy to blame something that you don't even know if it exists or how it exists or what it is. Is it AI? Is it real? Is it fake? Is it somebody in the lab just typing up and being like, oh, this person goes viral. This person isn't going to go viral. Like, no, it's a social media, like all these platforms, they want you to succeed. I know that's crazy to like think because, oh, I'm not getting good numbers. I'm not, getting what this person's getting and all this other stuff, but they do. And the reason why they want you to succeed is because they make money from you. The bigger you get, the more people that scroll on your videos and stay, the longer they stay on that platform, whether it's your page, the next person's page, they don't care who goes viral and for what, honestly. Yes, there is some conspiracy out there and stuff like that. And we're not going to, okay, look, I'm getting off track. Let's not get into that. For the most part, I don't think that they are suppressing a person with 350 followers that is posting their cooking recipes. Like, no, I just think that that person's content probably isn't as good as the next person's content. And people don't either resonate with it or find it shareable or want to interact with it, and therefore it doesn't get pushed to the next group. And again, we'll break down kind of what the algorithm is in a second, or what, to my knowledge, the algorithm kind of does, because I think that a lot of people, what they do is hack the algorithm. They try and hack the algorithm too. And there is no hacking this stuff, bro. Like, as soon as you realize, like, just put the work in instead of putting all that work and energy into trying to hack it and get the easiest way. Like, what's the easiest way? Oh, so if I post at 9 a.m. at 9:02 on this day for this many seconds of this clip, and then it will go viral. Like, stop putting your energy and wasting your time into thinking and stuff like that, and just put it into, how can I make better content? How can I do more? How can I post better, more quality and quantity? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, audience. And that could be audience, like a broad audience, and that can also be like your targeted audience. The reason why it's important to know the difference between two is because I think that a targeted audience is always going to be like better suit you than just some broad audience. A lot of people think like, oh, I just need to go viral and then I'll be good. I'll go viral. If I get millions of views on a video, then I'll be booked out and I'll be this and I'll be that. And I'm here to tell you, I've had multiple videos hit over 1 million. It doesn't work like that. There's been a lot of times that I've had a video do hundreds of thousands, if not over 1 million plays, and I didn't get a single booking from that. But if you let that discourage you and you let that be your end all be all, like there's multiple reasons for that. Pretty much moral of the story is that if your only goal is to just go viral, I feel like it's very misleading, and that's what a lot of people like aim towards. And I think it's just not like a good metric to try and like just shoot for, is like, that's the end all be all. Once I go viral, it will solve all my problems, because it's not going to. Anyways, back to the other one. The second word, niche. This is another one that is a kind of like popular discussed topic where a lot of people talk about this, and this is like one of those like hot words where you get one or the other. Some people swear by like, you have to niche down, you have to be in a niche, and then other people think that you should never be in a niche, and that's the craziest thing to do, is to niche down. I am somewhere in the middle, and I feel like you should be too. I feel like most people should be kind of in the middle. I think that it's good to niche down, because the thing with niching is that people need to be able to identify you with something else. It's hard to identify somebody that they've never seen before, they never know about, they're just now learning about. You don't have a lot of like attention yet. You don't have a lot of, notoriety or anything like that. And it's hard for people to remember you and recognize you if you don't have something else to attach to. You know what I mean? So like for me, it's obviously tattooing, but then now it's becoming like, also because I've been telling my story a lot and doing a lot more of the storytelling aspect of things, where now it's like, oh, that's the person that didn't know how to draw 3 or 4 years ago. Oh, that's the person that, whatever, now is like teaching people how to tattoo or whatever. You know what I mean? It can be, but technically that's all still under one niche, tattooing, So even if I post something that's similar to lifestyle or something, people still recognize that like me with tattooing, And as you get bigger and bigger and bigger, then you can kind of spread out and you can get into more of this and get into that. And then you become like a good example of this, of 2 people that come to mind in my head that don't have a niche at all, but started with a niche, is The Rock and Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart specifically, because he started as a comic, right? Once he got known for that, now if you look at his page, bro, I mean, he's a Nike athlete, he's doing movies, then he's doing this, he's doing that, he has a production agency, he has this, he has that, and then if he started his own one of this or got into this niche over here, like people would still follow him. And that's the point I'm trying to make, is that people at the beginning, if you're just starting this content journey, it's important, I feel like, to kind of somewhat niche down, because the other thing is that if people like a video that you have, right? Like let's say they're scrolling on the For You page and then they see yours and they see that you're tattooing or that you're painting or that you are doing whatever, right? And then they're like, oh, they go to your page and they see a little bit more of that content, right? And then they follow you. And then the next thing that you post is like a cooking recipe video, right? They'll be like, wait, who is this again? Like by the time the next day, they probably already even forgot who you are. And they're like, why am I even following this person? And they'll either unfollow or they'll just stay inactive on your account. And then the more that you post like different random things, they're just getting confused and frustrated and then end up leaving. Instead, if you have that niche and you cater to that niche and you continue to put out content that's surrounding that, they're going to remember you like, oh, that's that one tattoo guy from wherever. And I remember that one video he did. And then they like the next video and they comment maybe on the next video. And then maybe after like 10, 15 videos, they're like, oh, I like this person's work. I like this person. How do I book with this person? You know what I mean? Because this is random like geeky stat, but they say, I'll pull up the exact like thing that they did like a survey on or something like that. Whether you believe this kind of stuff or not, I think it's somewhat true. And they say, I think it was like it takes average time it takes someone to kind of trust a person online is about 7 hours. So if you think about this, that's why, again, another reason why I think YouTube is so powerful is because you can get that time, whether you believe that or not, in a quicker amount of time rather than like short form like Instagram or even like TikTok. Like you're posting 30-second reels, 45-second reels, just small little posts, you know what I mean? And that takes a while for people to trust you, to know who you are and all that kind of stuff, you know? That's a long-winded answer to what I think about both of those, the algorithm and niche. Replace algorithm with audience, and niche, I think, be somewhere in the middle. I think niche down somewhat, but you can still have some freedom within that niche. All right, another 2 myths that I want to talk about is date and time and hashtags. These 2 things right here, date and time and hashtags. So I think that posting around specific dates, times, all that kind of stuff, I think is another one of those kind of myths. I don't think it matters whether you post at 9 a.m. versus 7 p.m. You know, for everybody, it's going to be different. And even when they say that, though, I'm like, bro, it doesn't matter, because if your video does do well, it doesn't matter what time you posted it, because most of the chunk of people that is going to come from the For You page and to make your post viral, if it does go viral, is probably going to be watching it a day later, 2 days later, a week later, sometimes months later. Like I have a video right now that I posted, I think, 4 months ago or something like that. And I'm still getting follows, likes, comments, shares, messages from that video that at first when I posted it, and I don't even know what time I posted it, I think like in the middle of the day, some random time, right? It doesn't matter, you know, because they're seeing it whenever they see it. The only reason why I think that it halfway matters is that, again, this is getting super geeky, but with Instagram, sometimes like what they say is that they do like A/B testing, and really all social media platforms are kind of, they say similar. Like they do like an A test or a B test or whatever they want to call it. And they push your video out to like a percentage of your viewers first, like your followers. And if it does decent there and hits like certain metrics, then they'll push it out to the next group, the B group, which is a little bit more of like random people, but still in that niche, I guess. And then if it does well there, then they push it out to a bigger group. So they might push it out to 20% of your following. And if it does 50% of watching, then it might go to the next one. And the next group of people might be 1,000 people, and then 10,000 people, and then 100,000 people, and then 1,000,000 people. You know what I mean? That's essentially how I've heard it kind of broken down before. Again, a lot of this is just bro science and me just repeating a lot of things I've heard with it. But that's what I've heard, and I think that it's pretty true, because most viral videos, if you've had some go viral or you know people who have like had viral videos, it always usually comes like randomly. Like it doesn't just, or kind of compounds over time. It doesn't just like you post it and then it hits 1 million in 10 minutes. You know, it just doesn't work like that. So I think date and time is kind of like a myth. You can go on your Instagram, like you can see, I'm pretty sure even on the other social media platforms as well. But there's like in the settings or something, you can go to it and see when your followers are on like the most active times. And for a while, for months, I was doing that. Like I think mine was 6 or 7 p.m. and I posted then all the time. And I was like, literally in the morning, if I had a fire post, I was like, no, I gotta wait till 7 p.m. I just feel like it's outdated now. I feel like whatever it is, whether the algorithms or anything like that are more up to date and more reasonable with things, I think it doesn't really matter. You know, I'm gonna be real with you. The other thing is hashtags right here, bro. Hashtags, same thing. I'm kind of in the middle of the road with this, similar to like the niche thing. I think hashtags, you might as well use them because why not? Just don't make it messy and put it all in the, you know, when you're scrolling and somebody's in their bio, it says like, For You page, explore page, hashtag me, follow me, viral me, da, 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 and it's like 17,000 hashtags with like no caption. Bro, at least like space it down so that that's not like the first thing people see. Again, use, I think, similar things to most people. I mean, like if you're using a specific hashtag, try and maybe repeat it. That's kind of what I do. If I used Arizona tattoo artist on one, I'll usually repeat that same hashtag. Whatever that's in the actual video, I'll kind of like put in the hashtags. But again, I've had some videos where I didn't put any hashtags and just posted it like when I was like half asleep and it did crazy numbers, and then vice versa. But I've also had some videos do really well that had hashtags. So I don't really know. I don't think anyone really knows either, but you might as well just use a few of them just in case. All right, let's talk about the last two myths so we can get these out of the way and talk about some real stuff. Actually, I lied. It's just one more. This one right here. Gear. Doesn't matter, bro. It does not matter the type of gear, the camera, the type of computer you have, this is all this other stuff, bro. Believe me, from my firsthand experience, I am a person that obsesses over tech, gear, types of things, how it works. But that's because I enjoy it. That's because I actually like it and I utilize those things. But to the average person who is making content for their business, for their brand, for bookings, for a product they're selling, whatever it is, it doesn't matter in the big scheme of things. And I'm gonna tell you why. Most people are watching content on their phones. That means the most they can usually watch on their phone is 1080p quality, right? You having this $5,000 4K camera that can do 10-bit color and this, that, and the third, especially if you have no idea how to utilize those things, you are wasting your time and you're making it harder on yourself, because the fancier the gear, the more techie the gear, the more advanced the gear is. If you are not equally as advanced, it's going to look worse than an iPhone. I promise you, bro. Like, and I've had this conversation with multiple people before. They've asked me that same thing, like, bro, but what camera do you use? Oh, what editing software do you use, bro? How do you do the, and I'm like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because even if I give you everything that I have right now, my entire setup, you would not be able to utilize it, because I don't even utilize half the capabilities that I have, you know, because I realize like you just don't need to, you know, you just really don't need to. The only thing I've seen in benefit in these things, besides like if you're trying to get super cinematic and aesthetic with your overall content, the only thing that really mattered and helped me out a tremendous amount is having a computer that can handle a lot of footage at one time, so you can save things and upload to big platforms like YouTube, where it can handle 4K and it can handle huge file sizes. Everything else, bro, I'm telling you, don't waste your time. You can get little handy gadgets like plug-in mics for the iPhones. You can just look them up. There's some good ones. That is the biggest thing. Just have a decent sounding mic and clear enough, you know, quality in your camera. Because the other thing is that the more you add with tech, the more you have to add around it. If you have a fancy camera that shoots great quality video and everything like that, first of all, if you don't know how to use it, like I just said, doesn't do you anything. But then you have to have the correct lighting setup. You have to have all these other factors that have to be dialed in for it to be able to maximize its potential and capability. You know, your iPhone does it for you. It adjusts ISO and aperture and all these other different things that you probably don't even know half the things about. Just keep it simple. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be able to pump out that much more content. Don't worry about your quality that much, because honestly, it doesn't matter. I've put out things that I feel like is pretty good quality, and it hasn't done very good at all. And then I've put out things that are like just off the iPhone, some clips and stuff, done really well. I don't know, bro. It just, to me, it's super overrated. Okay, let's talk about now reverse engineering the entire content discussion. Okay, so hear me out. I know this might get a little confusing for you. You're like, what do you mean reverse engineer? I'm being serious. Reverse engineer this. I don't think a lot of people do this enough. You think from yourself. We think from a selfish point of view of like, what would I want to post? I want to post this. I want to post that. I think this deserves to be viral. No, right? I'm telling you, that's the worst way to think about it. You got to think about, why would people want to watch you? Think about from their point of view. Why? Because think about it from your own perspective. Go on your social media right now and go to your liked posts and your saved posts and all that stuff. And why do you like it? Think about it seriously from a conscious, like psychological level. I know this is getting super randomly deep, but think about it. Why did you like that last post you liked? And I'm going to tell you, it's probably going to fit into one of these 4 or 5 categories: education, entertainment, motivation, inspiration. Those are usually like the top 4 things that I feel like people watch and consume content for. You know, it was probably something either funny and you liked it, maybe you shared it, maybe it was educational, so you saved it, right? Like those are the things that why people do what they do. And you have to start thinking about, if you watch back some of your content, why would somebody save that? If they don't know who you are, why would they ever save it, like it, comment, share it? Why would they? You know? And I think that the more that you have a clear-cut plan when you have those things, like why would they do that? When would they do that? Who would do that? Where would they do that? Why would they do that? All those different things of like, you ask yourself that content before you post it or even after you post it to get better at the next one, I think is better. And a lot of people will be like, bro, you're doing too much. I'm telling you, fam, this is the world we live in. If you want to know kind of the ins and outs of this content game, this is the strategies people use, because you can kind of post just freely and randomly and whatever willy-nilly, you know what I mean, if you want to. But if you kind of want to step up your game and be a little bit more thought out, those are the things I would suggest, because once you kind of hone in on those things and really nail down some of that stuff, like, no, they would share it because it's educational, and it's educational because of this, that, and that, right? Or they would like it because it's funny, or it's this, then whatever, you know what I mean? But you have to kind of have a rhyme or reason for what you're doing, you know? My advice with some of this stuff: steal like an artist. If you've never heard this concept, or I mean this like phrase, it's a real thing, and it's a real thing for a reason. A lot of people here, when they hear like, oh, steal, copy, that's bad, because that's what we're taught, right? Not in this kind of world, not in art, not in content. You are wasting your time if you're just trying to bang your head against the wall and think of all these bright new concepts. Dude, don't try and reinvent the wheel. See what's working for other people in your niche, or even other niches that kind of you can replicate, copy it, and kind of do it a little bit different in your way. It's already going to be different because it's you, and it's already going to be different, especially if you are looking at somebody else's niche and kind of copying their style with things and then doing your niche. It's already going to be different. But I just mean like the structure, maybe the pacing, the hooks, the text on screen, the no text on screen, caption versus no captions, point of view versus angles, like all those different things. Whether you start with something dramatic and then that's what happened at the end, but you put it at the beginning so that it grabs people's attention. All these different tactics. Watch people who do this for a living and see and really break down why they're doing what they're doing, because there's a reason. And the more that you look deep into it and start really breaking it down and analyzing it, the better it will do for you. You know what I mean? Because if you keep looking at this kind of stuff as just like a novice, you'll always be a novice. You'll never get things to start rolling how you want them to roll. And pick the thing you are naturally best at. So I know I named a bunch of topics like entertainment, education, inspiration, motivation, all those different things, right? Pick the thing that you are naturally the best at first. So a lot of people will be like, well, I'm going to try this one day, and then I'm going to be super motivational the next day, and then the funny guy the next day, and then see which one sticks. No, who are you? And then do that. So if you're naturally a very funny and charismatic person, maybe try skits. Skits are a really easy way to make fun of things, make fun of people, make fun of a topic, talk about a trending topic, whatever it is, and introduce it into your own thing that you are doing. So if you're a tattoo artist, like I've done this before, I've made fun of other tattoo artists, the stereotypes of tattoo artists. I've made fun of my own tattoos before because they're generic tattoos, right? All that kind of stuff. The only thing I always caution people with the skits and funny stuff and leaning just solely into that is I feel like it's a lot of like weightless views. Meaning I've had a couple skits on my page, right? I've done like 2 of them, and one got over 500,000. The other one is at like 300,000, right? That's like 900,000 in views in 2 videos that I just did on a limb. Like I woke up that day and just was like, well, I'll just try a skit, right? And you would think that it's like, oh, you might as well keep doing that then. That seems like it's hitting. And a lot of people said that. They were like, bro, why don't you keep doing the skits? Why don't you do that? And I'm like, bro, it's weightless views. Because yes, you get a lot of views, but I didn't get a single booking from that. I didn't get a single, like, I got maybe 20 people to follow me from both of those, which is like crazy low for views of that like number, you know? I just realized like, okay, it's cool for shareability. Like people shared it, you know, they laughed in their little group chat. They sent it to a friend that had generic tattoos, whatever. But that was it. And they just kept it pushing, right? And that's not the brand I'm really trying to like be, you know? I want like when somebody comes across my page, I want it to stick, you know? I want to, whether it's educational, whether it's motivational, whether it's inspirational, whether it's funny sometimes, but like most of the time I want whatever videos and stuff I'm putting out there, I want it to stick to people, and they go to my page and then they find more of that kind of stuff and they follow, and then they stay on my page and they start, you know, following me, my journey, and all that kind of stuff. You know, that's more the brand that I see better. And I don't really care too much about overall views and all that kind of stuff. I rather want quality views and quality people rather than just weightless stuff where it gets clicks and stuff. I don't really care too much about that stuff. But again, if that's what you're into and you see that it benefits that, like your overall brand, because there's a lot of people that make full-time careers of that. Drewski, he's a perfect example of that. Like, bro, he's funny as hell. People follow him just because he's funny. And now he does brand deals with these people, does this, does that, does whatever he wants to do. It works. I'm just saying, think about what is the most genuine to you, and you will have an easier time doing it rather than, because making content is already difficult and challenging. So make it easier on yourself if you can by doing what is easier. Just like, vlogging, right? A lot of people's first go-to with like YouTube specifically, they're like, oh, should I just vlog or what, bro? I want to start YouTube. And it's like, well, if you are very shy on camera already and you're a super introverted person, there is no reason for you to rush out, go get a camera, get a whole rig system for vlogging. And now you're out in public, like super embarrassed because now you have this huge camera and now you're like, well, but I think I should vlog. So, hey guys, this is what I'm doing today. Like, that's what it's going to be like. Do the thing that's more natural to you. If you do better in a closed off environment, nobody's watching, you can kind of just talk, do sit down style videos like this and just talk about topics, write out a script. Some people do better with scripts. Some people do better with just off the cuff, you know? You got to kind of pick understand who you are and then dive into content that benefits that, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, starting is the hardest part with any of this, so you might as well try and make it easier on yourself if you can. All right, some examples for you guys is, and I'll like kind of try and pop up different things on screen as I'm talking about these things. when I edit this whole video, I'll try and hopefully I've done this up to this point, but especially now with these examples, is that one example is storytelling. So this is the one that I struggled with doing the most. And it's crazy because it's gotten me the most like return and most benefit when I started doing it, but it took me I put it off for so long. I didn't really care about telling my story. I didn't really care about, like, to me, it was all boring stuff. Like, why would anyone care about how I got into tattooing? Why would anyone care about that I didn't know how to draw and then now I tattoo? Like, why would anyone care about that stuff? And then I did it. And then I realized the thing about storytelling is that it resonates with people. So if you can tell a story, not only is it engaging, if you can understand pacing and how you start it, things with music, things with, abrupt interruptions where you're like, this happened, this happened, this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, but then this happened, that is the art of storytelling. Look it up. There's a bunch of videos on YouTube about it. A lot of people who know way more than I do about it. But master the art of storytelling, bro, there's a reason why a lot of people do it with content. It's super engaging and it resonates with a lot of people, because if you find somebody who is a good storyteller, tells their story, you resonate with their story, now you automatically resonate with that person. You're more trusting of that person. You're more engaged with that person. And I do it all the time with other creators too. I feel like I'm locked in with a lot of these creators that I've never met in my life, but because the way that they told their story, they do certain videos, and I'm like, bro, that's exactly what I'm going through. That's exactly what I feel like, or whatever it is. And anytime they put out a new video, I'm always watching. It could be, and then eventually when you develop that with people, they could put out anything. I mean, I watched a dude the other day, he went to Tokyo for a vlog, and I watched it. I don't care about that, and it has nothing to do with what he actually puts out for content. But I watched it because then you start watching it for that person. You know what I mean? Another thing is I keep pushing YouTube for a reason. Not only do I think that the viewers and the people who are on this platform are much higher, I don't know how to say this, but like quality, like the type of people that are watching your stuff is a higher quality than like a lot of short form stuff, is because when you do have a post go viral that's on short form, it's a lot of negativity. It's a lot of toxic trolls. People just want to be noticed in the comments. They see that the post is going viral, so they want to make a funny jab, or they want to say the most toxic thing to get the most clout off of it. Like they just ride that coattail of clout and try and do wild stuff in the comments. Like that's just what happens. And I don't know, you just get a bunch of that kind of stuff, and I feel like it doesn't really add any value to your life or anything to do with what you're doing. Whereas on YouTube, like, again, I haven't gone viral or anything on YouTube, but especially the one I just posted, like the one telling my story, like a part 2 of it, I mean, it hit 10,000 like in that week. And that's the most by far views I've ever had on a YouTube video, and all the comments, like literally almost all of them were all positive, and I get emails, messages, like that's the type of people you get from YouTube that are like genuinely like watching you for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30-minute videos, hour videos sometimes, 4-hour videos sometimes, where you're just not going to get that on social media. But the second reason why I think it's beneficial is that you can take that long form. And that's exactly what I did with my last video, is I took that 26-minute video, whatever it was, and I saved it. And then I just cut it into parts. And then I posted it on 2 of my other social medias, Instagram and TikTok. And I did a part 1, part 2, all the way up to part 9. And I broke it up into 9 parts of like a minute or 2 minutes, right? And I posted those every day, once, twice, 3 times a day, whatever it was, until they were all posted. And specifically for that, when you break things up into parts, it leaves people wanting more. It leaves people wanting, like, coming back, wanting more. They're waiting for part 2. They're commenting part 3, part 4. They're interested in you. They're already following you. In the meantime, they're probably scrolling your other stuff because they already like that stuff. So then now they're going back in the catalog and looking through your other stuff. And you're doing that across platforms. The third reason, even if it has nothing to do with like breaking something up into parts like that, I've taken a full YouTube video before and it gave me 2 weeks of content because I took a 30-minute YouTube video, saved the full video, and then I just cut that into parts without putting like part 1, part 2, part 3, you know? And I just put like, maybe I was doing a tattoo on somebody that day, right? Or it was a 2-day session. And that video ended up being 30 minutes. I put it on YouTube, but then I saved the video and then I cut it into parts. And so maybe I put the first part was like me meeting him, doing a consultation, talking to him, designing, saying what we were going to do that day, right? And I posted that. And I put the text on screen like starting a 2-day project. And then the second clip was kind of me tattooing, but then maybe it wasn't enough stuff. So then I pulled from later in the video and then I put that in it. And then I made like a quick 1-minute video of that and said, text on screen was like, he came from Minnesota to get tattooed. Like, you just kind of got to be creative with it, but now you have a long form video to be able to pull from and then like make little videos out of it. So it gives you a whole bank of content without having to do a new video every single day, twice a day, 3 times a day, whatever, because that does get exhausting. The other thing with it is that I think like a lot of people ask how, when I tell them post 3 times a day, post twice a day, post once a day, post whatever. And they're like, bro, I'd run out of things. Reuse content and repurpose it in different ways. So you can repurpose is one thing, is like what you posted on Instagram, take it and put it on TikTok, put it on YouTube Shorts, put it on LinkedIn, put it on Snapchat, put it on Facebook. That's repurposing, right? You're using the same content, but you're spreading it around. You did it once and now you get it on 5 different social media platforms. But then there's reusing content, which I am a huge fan of, and I do all the time. I can take a 1-minute video, and so can you. Take a 1-minute video of you were at the shop that day, you were messing around, and then, you know, you talked for a little bit, then you were designing, then you were tattooing a little bit, and you put all these, mash these clips up into one, and then you post it, right? And a lot of people will take that and be like, oh, well, that was it. I can't reuse that, right? Take a small clip of it, maybe the final of the tattoo, right? Then take another picture of you walking into the tattoo shop and then put that text on screen and say, I'm a tattoo artist in wherever, right? And or start to a 5-day start to a 2-day project. This person spent this amount on this tattoo, and then show the final result. Like, you're just remixing the same video. Then take the same video and let's say it was something else. Let's say you wanted to frame it like what happens in the shop, right? And then you took that one little clip of you guys messing around and then put that. Like, that's another even shorter clip video. That might be 7 seconds. Like, you can just repurpose the same thing and probably get 5 videos out of that 1-minute video easily without even trying, you know, without having to shoot more content, without needing more videos, just remixing it, putting it in different spots, putting different text on screen, putting a different caption, all that kind of stuff, bro. Putting a joke as a text on screen. Like, you can do anything with it, you know? But the last thing I would say is like hooks, bro. Hooks. I know everyone talks about this a million times, but hooks, bro. Hooks are the reason why people are going to click on your stuff and not click off. More importantly, not click off. Because if they're scrolling For You page, they probably didn't even click on anyways. They're just scrolling. But most importantly, they're not clicking off, you know? And hooks, you can do a variety of different ways. There's a bunch of videos on this stuff where people explain it better than I do. But again, I'm just kind of shining light on these things and really having this conversation because I do think it's important, and I don't see a lot of tattoo artists talk about this. And if you are one of those people who are still sleeping on social media, you're tripping. You're fucking tripping. But yeah, If you have any questions on this, I kind of made this as just an overview of everything. If you guys have specific questions, you want me to make individual videos on that, drop it in the comments. But yeah, do not sleep on social media. Stop dragging your feet. Stop making excuses. Stop focusing on only one platform. Repurpose the content. We're in 2025. There's a million tools, whether it's AI, whether it's just you doing it manually. You can do it all from your phone, so don't think you need some fancy PC setup and all this other stuff. There's ways to do all this stuff, and it's easier than you might think. So again, if you have comments, if you have questions about anything directly that I talked about in this, that you want maybe examples of, or maybe you need clarification on, and you want me to make a full video on it, make sure you drop it in the comments so I know the things that get the most comments about the same kind of thing. I'll probably just make videos about them. So yeah. Keep grinding, keep hustling, keep doing your thing, bro. Just wanted to make a quick overview video on this because I don't see a lot of tattoo artists especially talking about this. But yeah, peace out, bro. I love you guys.